what a great day to sew something wonderful. I'm Kia with Kia Bee, and I'm so excited to be back here with you today. What if I told you that you could make 3 projects with just 1 layer cake? 3 projects for the upcoming holidays would be fantastic and such a quick way to bust out some Christmas gifts or just a quick way to decorate your house. Why don't y'all come in a little closer? I'll show you what I mean and we'll talk about the materials that you'll need for today's tutorial. The materials that you are going to need for today's project are really simple. You need 1 layer cake. I'm just going to work with 2 10-inch squares today to show you how to make a block. And then at the end, I'll be able to show you what an entire layer cake will make. You're going to need just your standard cutting materials. So a rotary cutter, a ruler that is at least 10 inches by 2 inches, and then your cutting mat, and then your typical sewing machine and thread. So this project is so fun. I wrote about it on our blog just a couple of weeks ago, but I was in my favorite quilt shop and my friend Helen said, I want to teach you something new as I was buying fabric. And so when Helen says, I want to teach you something new, you learn. And so as she taught me this technique, it's really exciting and it's such a fun way, a different take on a half square log cabin. And so I want to teach it to you all, and I asked her if I could do that. And she said, honey, you can't take your knowledge with you when you go, so I am more than happy to teach this to you so you can teach this to your subscribers. And so with that being said, we are going to do a half log cabin block today. And out of an entire layer cake, you are not only going to be able to make a table runner, you will be able to make 1 table runner, 1 wall hanging, and a little coffee rug for like an end table or just a little intimate table setting. And so I'm so excited to share this with you all. I busted open a layer cake and I made a couple of Halloween projects. As I said in a video earlier, we don't actually celebrate Halloween, so I'll be passing these projects on, but it was a layer cake that I thought, oh, I'm gonna run home and I'm gonna try what Helen has taught me, and they turned out absolutely adorable. I bought about 3 yards of backing and 1 yard of binding, and I was able to do all of my projects the same way. And so with all of that material. So 1 layer cake, 3 yards of backing, and 1 yard of binding will get you all 3 projects. So why don't y'all come even a little closer? We'll go top down. I'll show you how to cut up these 10-inch squares and how to sew them, and we'll learn how to make this block. You'll open up your package and kind of line up all of your 10-inch squares. You're going to cut them all exactly the same. So I'm just working with 2 10-inch squares. And you can cut as many as you are comfortable with. I'm just cutting 2 because I'm making a block. And I've got my Alpha rotary cutter here, and this is an endurance blade. So really I could cut multiple layers at a time. And so you'll get your layer cake open and cut as many as you are comfortable with. Now, with my ruler, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on one side of our 10-inch squares, and I'm going to cut it at 2 inches. I'm going to make sure that it's very straight. I'm going to make sure that I'm completely lined up here with my 2 10-inch squares. Sometimes a layer cake is not perfect and it can be just a little bit off. If you see that yours are a little bit off, I would just either square them up or make sure you're cutting the little bits off so that they're an even size. Okay, so here we are. I've got mine lined up. And if yours have a pinked edge, my Halloween fabric that I use had a pinked edge, and you use the cut that's furthest inward. So you're measuring from the inward cut to the inward cut. Okay. So you're going to line it up and you are going to cut a 2-inch strip, and you're going to make piles. So here we go. We'll make our first cut. I've got 2 inches here on my ruler. Just going to cut that off. Always make sure to close your ruler. Sometimes I'm not very good at that. Okay, so you're going to make 1 pile of those really long strips. Now you are going to turn your 10-inch squares now 1 turn this way. And you are going to always be cutting from the left side And you're gonna make another 10-inch cut, or I'm sorry, 2-inch cut. Line that up straight. Make another pile of those. Turn it a half a turn again. Make another 2-inch cut. And you'll notice that this cut is actually the same as the last one that we just did. That's great, we want that. So we'll put that in that same pile. And we'll keep turning, half a turn. And you can guess it, we're gonna do another 2-inch cut. That makes another size, half a turn. Again, we're gonna do another 2-inch cut. Y'all, this is just so easy, and you're gonna want to really use up your 10-inch squares. This is a great scrap buster too. Okay, so we've got another one, and you'll notice that's the same as the last one we just cut. So we'll put that away. Another half a turn, and this will give us our last cut at 2 inches. Okay, so what you end with every 10-inch square, you will get one 4x4 square. You will get one of the 2x4-inch squares, and this is just with one. You'll get two of the, let's see, this is 6x2-inch. You'll get two of the 8x2-inch and one of the 10x2-inch. Now, why I cut 2 blocks for us is it's actually gonna make 2 different blocks, but I wanted to have some difference in our blocks. So now we're gonna lay that out. So I'll choose one of our centers here. I'll make sure that y'all can see this. One of our centers. And then we're just gonna go around like a half square block, okay? And so we'll just take one from the next pile. So that'll be here. Can y'all see that well? Okay, so we've got our 4-inch, and then we have our 4x2. Then the next one will be here. We're gonna keep building just like this. Then we will take this same one here, our 6-inch block, and that will go here. Then we will take our 8-inch, and that will go on this side. Here we go. Then we will take another 8-inch, and that will go here. Let me move these out of the way so we're not getting confused. And then lastly, to finish up, let me move this over here. So we have a 4-inch, a 2x4, a 2x6, another 2x6, a 2x8, another 2x8, and then a 2x10 will finish our block. So do you see that? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces to one block. And what will happen is we will sew these together, and then we'll sew this unit. And it's just like a log cabin, but we're doing half of that. So it starts with our center here in the corner. Then you have, with your leftovers, you have the exact amount for another block. So we would do, again, another 4-inch, another 2x4, another, and you can do it the opposite way as well. So let me see if I can scoot this one over here a little bit. This is such a good beginner project because it really uses up your fabric, and it just really makes for easy cutting and easy piecing because they are all straight lines. There's absolutely no Y seam or anything to do with that. So then we've got another here, we can do it the opposite way. A 4-inch square, and a 2x4, and a 2x6, and another 2x6, and a, let's see, 2x8, And another 2x8 up here. I know I'm kind of probably losing you here. Scoot them over just a little bit so I can fit them all on here. All right, there we go. And then our last 2x10 goes on the edge here, and that would make 2 separate blocks. And those were just from 2 layer cake squares. So now let's head over to the sewing machine and I'll show you how to sew these together properly. I've brought my block layout over to my sewing table, and here's where if you have like a small design board that you can transport easily, just a little maybe 12-inch square or something like that, that would make really easy for this project. So I'm gonna show you how to sew this together the easiest way, I think. And that way, if you're a beginner, you can kind of see that it doesn't come together perfectly, and that's okay because we are going to trim it down at the very end. And so I'm gonna take my 4-inch square and attach this one here. This is so simple. I would just use a smaller stitch length, nothing tiny or anything like that. I'm gonna scoot these guys out of the way. Okay, there we go. And I'm just gonna finger press these open here. And there we go. Then we just start with our very next block. So we're gonna attach that, and you want to start from the inside of your block out. So this will start here, and you will see that you will have some hangover here at the end, and that's okay. We are gonna trim that off later. So I don't want you to panic and think you're doing something wrong. You will have hangover. And we just line this up. Again, start from the center of your block and go to the outside. Okay, finger press that. Okay. Now we're gonna add to the next one. And you know that this is the center here. This is the center of our block. So this is where we're gonna line it up, and we're gonna sew that direction. So I will line that up here, and I will actually flip my project over so I can make sure and sew that direction. Remember not to pull or tug on your fabric. You don't want it to distort in the process, but you do want to make sure that it lines up well. So here is how our block is looking now. So we've got our 4-inch down here on the very left, and then we've got one row done here, and we're working on this second one. So we're going to start from the center of our block downward. Finger press that open there. All right, now we've got our next one. We're gonna start from the center of our block and go that direction. So this is the one that I will flip my project over and sew from the opposite side, so I make sure I'm sewing in the right direction. I can tend to get a little bit confused when it comes to that. Okay, and we are already on to our very last strip unit here at the end. So we're going to take our 10-inch piece and we attach it to this one, and again, start from the center and go all the way out. Okay, and here we are at the end. And here's our block. It was just as simple as that. So let's head over to the cutting mat and I will show you how we're gonna square this up. Very, very simple. And then guys, that's it. That's all of our block right there. And just those two little easy steps, cutting, sewing. And so let's head over there and I'll show you how to square this up. Okay, so here I quickly just sewed up this other block, because I'm telling you, this project comes together so quickly. So I've got this, and remember I've just finger pressed this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my mat, my little wool pressing mat, and I am going to move this, because if you iron on top of your self-healing mat, it actually will distort the mat, and so you don't wanna do that. And I will flip it over. What I will do is I will press from this direction to make sure that my seams all go the right way. And so I've got my iron here. And again, I talk about this all the time, the importance of pressing and never ironing your fabric. It will actually distort your fabric. I've had a couple of projects that seem to come out a little wavy. And when that happens, that means that I've really ironed my project and I've not pressed it well. So I'm just making sure with a little bit of steam here that my seams are all going the right direction. I'm making sure to pick up my iron every time. And we'll just turn it over here and make sure we've got a good press. I've just got this small little wool ironing mat right now, and I will tell you, I absolutely love it. My seams lay so flat, and I am especially loving it when I am pressing something that's on the bias. So if I'm pressing half square triangles or something like that, it just really seems to press well. So I'm definitely, it is on my wish list to get a larger mat for sure. All right, so I'm just doing that. I'll flip it over. Make sure that I press this side as well. Okay, so I've got both of those pressed. Put that away and I will bring my mat back over. Okay, so here we go. We've got this taken care of. All right, I think this is the one that we were working on originally. So you see we've got all this hangover here, and that's fine. It's about 1/2 inch of hangover on each side, and it tapers there. So we will just, at this point, we will just grab our ruler, and I will line up, because your center square should still be square, because we really have only sewn 2 sides to it. So I will line up on my ruler a line here, and then I will line up the edge here, and at that point I will snip off just this little bit here, just a small little fragment, and then I will flip my project over. I will do the same thing here. I will line up a line that's easier for me to see, and then the edge of the ruler here, and just take top of that right off, and you see just fragments come off of those. So then that is our square, and your square should be, let's see, should be about 8.5 inches in, if you've done a scant 1/4 inch. So you've got about an 8.5 inch block here. So let me do this one for us. So then that's just the little bit of scrap that you have left over from your layer cake pieces, which if you do any crumb quilting or anything like that, that's really great pieces for that. And some of these, you know, aren't very large at all. So really, for this to be the only waste out of your pieces, and that's from 2 pieces of layer cake. That's not just one, that's 2 pieces of layer cake, so 2 10-inch squares, and that's all the waste that you have. This really is a great project. So I'm just gonna throw that in my crumb stash there. And then I've got these 2 blocks, and they're very bright. You will see in our projects that it looks very different when you've got darker fabrics. But I mean, it just turned out so well, so cute, and very, very simple. So who is ready to see the projects that I was able to make with this method? So these are our little, just our little half log cabins that we've made. I think they turn out so cute. I really like it in this sewing fabric. I might have to do just something small with these. So what I've done is I did a layer cake, like I said, of Halloween fabric. I'll be passing these projects on because Halloween isn't something we celebrate in our house. But I had the layer cakes and I wanted to try Helen's method, and I thought it turned out so fun. So here's the first one. It's a rather large little coffee mug. So that's why I said you could put it in the center of a coffee table or something like that. I went to my local quilt store and I just grabbed like a 1/4 yard or half a yard maybe of this grunge, it's Moda Grunge Dot or Moda Dot Grunge. I don't remember which. And I just had put that in the center of these, and you'll see where I got these big half square triangles here. You'll see in the table runner that I cut those off of the ends of the table runner. I didn't want to waste that, so I threw this sashing here in the center, and it turned out really, really cute. I found this skeleton fabric at my favorite quilt store, and I thought it would make a great backing, and so this is a really, really nice size. Let me see. It is about a 17-inch square. And so that makes a really nice little coffee table rug or a coffee rug, just really simple and cute. I want to do this. I'm trying to decide, but I really want to do this in some Christmas fabrics, and we have gotten a couple of Christmas layer cakes in a few boxes, and so I'm really trying to decide if I want to do that. So this is cute. I used a variegated thread and just quilted kind of like a spider web motif on it. Next we've got our, what is this one? This is the table runner. I'll show you half. So I put it on point. I put the blocks on point, which left me needing to do something in the negative space here. So I grabbed some Moda Grunge black that I had left over from another project. I only needed some 6.5-inch squares and cut those on the diagonal and placed those in. I will tell you the placing these on point does require you to do some Y seams, and so that was a stretch for me, and I was glad to be able to practice that. But if you're a beginner, you might just think about just sewing your blocks together normally, and then you don't actually need to worry about these triangles here. I used some of that Dot Grunge as a border, and I don't think I can show you this whole thing, but there we are, and it's really, really cute. I thought it was super fun, and I used the skeletons on the back as well. I just quilted a grid on this one, and so the person that is going to be getting this table runner, she can use it either side. If she wants a more detailed or a more elaborate centerpiece, then she can just use the skeleton side, or if she wants to flip it over and use the pattern, that would be really fun as well. So lastly, we have a rather large wall hanging, and y'all, this is out of one layer cake, and this wall hanging is about, I believe I measured, it's like 58, I think it's 58 inches square. And so that's a pretty big wall hanging. And so here we are, and I just put the blocks together. I didn't put a sashing on them. I didn't even use any type of method. I just wanted the blocks together, and it really looks fun and scrappy. I used a grunge yellow binding on all of the projects, and then again used those skeletons here on the back. Some of the skeletons have little orange bow ties, and I just think that's really funny. So with this this layer cake project, I was so thankful that Helen taught me that. She said she's not one to do pre-cuts. Of course, she has her own quilt shop, and so she's not one to do pre-cuts. But when she thought of that, she just thought, what a great idea. And so I was really excited to get home and practice that. So I came home, I whipped up these 3 projects, and I wanted to share that tutorial with you all. So thank you so much for joining us in the Hive today. I was really looking forward to doing another tutorial with you. And if y'all have any questions with this project at all, please leave a comment down below. We love to continue the conversation with you. If you are a beginner quilter, welcome, and we are so glad that you found our channel, and we hope that we can help you start to make some beautiful things out of some really great fabric. This is a great project to practice your chain piecing or your cutting your cutting methods and using a rotary cutter, and it's just really simple. So if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask, and we will see you all next time. Thanks for joining us in the Hive.